What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 158. And today we're going to break down the semifinal matchups in the 2024 Bigs playoffs. It's a full stacked show here. We've got four of our greatest managers here to break down these two matchups. First, from Hillsdale, New Jersey, returning to the show for the first time in quite a while. He was a semifinalist this year and led the league since week 6 all the way to the playoffs. His name is Mike Haber. Mike, how you feeling tonight, my friend?
I'm feeling great. I'm happy to be on here. I'm really happy for the two finalists. Really couldn't be happier. And as disappointed as I am tonight, I'm okay with not stressing this week for the finals. And I'm happy to root hard for my brother to win his first championship. So I'm feeling good for him as much as I'm disappointed for myself. I feel like I did everything I could this week, so I'm okay. I'm at peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm at peace with it as well, taking an L this week. But we'll get into that here in a moment. Jason Ashby, the man who does the research from Denver, Colorado, is back with us again. Jason, it's been a long season. We've got 2 weeks left until the end of this season, and we can crown a champion. Jason, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm fantastic, Joe. Yeah, it's been a long but fast season. Lots of twists and turns, and here we are at the end. And I gotta say, and we said it in the last show too, that these final four, you guys this was the right final four, and honestly, you could have put all four names in a hat and drawn two out, and that could have been the finalists. Any one of you could have made it. So y'all have lots to be proud about, and good luck to Josh and Jay.
Absolutely. Good luck to our finalists. But before we dive into it, let's bring on the man who made the game, the man who is the reason why we're here. He is a 3-time Bigs champion and the commissioner of our great league, Ben Nisman. Benny, how are you feeling tonight?
Feeling great. Happy to be the commissioner of this league, Joe. This really was one of the best semifinals someone could ask to watch. And last year was incredible with me versus Mike and you versus Josh last year, Joe. Those were tight all the way up to the Sunday night game. This was not much different. So we've been really blessed to have really competitive semifinals. It felt like it had been Mike, yourself, Joe, me, as the Nadal, Djokovic, and Federer of this league for a while. And now here we go. We got two new finalists in there. Josh, of course, returning from last year, goes back to back, which is incredible. Mike, you as the returning champion, you're dethroned here. It's just really amazing. It's obviously what I would say an upset on both sides of the semifinal. To me, it's the Texas has to go to Houston and win two. Arizona has to go to Philly and win two. And it actually happens. It's never happened before. I don't see this ever happening again. I'm blown away what I've seen. These were the four best managers this season. This was the right Final Four. And the competitive atmosphere through the four of you, I don't think it could be matched. Not by me, by anyone. It just felt like a chess match throughout from the Sunday prior when Josh and Mike could make moves all the way through till the next Sunday. So I'm grateful as the commissioner to be able to see such competitiveness. Amazing job from all four of you, and thank you so much. So we have a ton of breakdown. Joe, please lead us off, my man.
Let's get going, boys. It's time to talk about the semifinals, and we'll talk about Mike Haber against Jay Ferraro to lead us off. This one was wild, Mike, and you guys were tied 9-9 going into Sunday. So you take the 11-9 loss there, as looks like you committed an error and gave up a home run for those two categories to be untied and give Jay the win. So close categories this week. Jay wins by 2 triples, an error, a strikeout, a home run by a pitcher, 4 walks by a pitcher, and a relief appearance. Mike, you win by 3 runs and 3 doubles. You guys did not tie in anything except wins.
Except wins.
Except wins. For Jay on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 4 for 22.
That's pretty impressive. 182.
He nailed
That's
it.
really impressive.
He nailed it again. This guy's
That's
on
really
a
impressive,
roll.
Ben.
This guy is on a roll. Three runs, a double, an RBI, a stolen base, and 2 strikeouts. He also could have had the wins with Skeens and Shota Imanaga, but those were risky starts, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially one home run given up is the difference there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do it.
Yeah. For his moves this week, he used all 10 of them, as all but Mike Haber did this week. Bailey Ober gets added for JP Sears off of waivers, 7 innings, 2 homers, 12 big strikeouts, a 257 and an 057. He drops Mackenzie Gore for Luis Robert, 1 for 4 with 2 runs, a walk, and a strikeout. And he drops Rhett Lauder for Ryan Brazier, an inning, a walk, 2 strikeouts, an 18 and a 3. He drops Luis Robert for Joe Mantiply for a clean relief appearance, and Bo Bichette. He also dropped Mason Miller, which we found interesting, and more on that guy later on in the show. We're going to talk about that particular drop rather in depth.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped Justin Steele for Greg Weissert, clean relief appearance. Dropped Jeremiah Estrada for Tim Hill, clean relief appearance. Dropped Keegan Thompson for Byron Buxton, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Yikes. He dropped Ryan Brazier for Eric Miller, clean relief appearance. Dropped Ranger Suarez for Angel Martinez, 1 for 5 with a run and 2 strikeouts. And finally dropped Byron Buxton for Kyle Manzardo, who was on the bench. His MVP this week is the MVP that we've been talking about all season long on this team. It was the 13th overall pick in our draft, and it goes to Jose Ramirez. He hit .321 with a .345 on base, 3 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, a steal, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. And he's just shy of going 40-40 this year.
Crazy.
Guy's been absolutely nuts this year. To think we're going to get a 50-50 and possibly a 40-40 season in the same year. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
His least valuable hitter this week goes to Xavier Edwards, who hit 182 with a 182, a run, 3 stolen bases, 5 strikeouts, and an error.
Mm-hmm.
The Cy Young this week goes to Bailey Ober. We talked about him, and the Cy Yuck goes to Joe Mantiply. We talked about him as well. Jay pitched to a 2.37 ERA, an 0.86 WHIP, 27 relief appearances. It was pretty insane. 81 strikeouts over 60 and 2/3 innings. That's pretty crazy to get.
Yeah,
absolutely insane to get.
That's been his MO all season, right? Is
all season.
Just this wild pitching. Yeah.
Yep. For Mr. Haber on his bench this week, Benjamin, he goes 7 for 32.
Wow. 233.
219. 5 runs, a double, 2 homers, 4 RBIs, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts, and none of it plays because Mike won the vast majority of the offensive categories. Triples, stolen bases, and errors are the 3 that he did not win. For his moves this week, also, again, as mentioned earlier, all 4 of the semifinalists used at least 8 moves. 3 of us used all 10. Mike is the one that did not. He dropped Ryan Jeffers and picked up Lance Lynn, who had a really good start.
Joe, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but maybe we should start on what Mike did on Sunday here with adding Carlos Correa, because I think it's their ability to do that.
Sure. Carlos Correa gets added. Edwin Uceta, Gabriel Moreno, and Brian Hoeing. Those are the 4 moves beforehand. And for his moves this week, Lance Lynn gets added. 6 innings, a win, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, a 150, and a 1 against Pittsburgh. But he injured his knee, and he's done for the year. So the 2 starts became 1 start. Tyler Fitzgerald gets added 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, and Michael Massey 1 for 5 with an RBI and a strikeout. He dropped Lance Lynn for, oh my God, it's Jose Iglesias sighting, 1 for 4 with a run and a strikeout. Dropped Michael Massey for Emilio Pagan, who did not make the game. He then gets dropped for Grant Holmes, who was benched as an opener against Miami. Ryan Yarborough gets added 4 clean innings in a relief appearance, and dropped Brian Hoeing for Ty Madden, 2 1/3, a homer, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, an 11.57, and a 3. Yuck. MVP this week, and man, this team is loaded. You could pick just about anybody, but of course it's going to be Aaron Judge, 368 with a 538 on base percentage, 6 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, a steal, 7 walks, and 6 strikeouts. For his least valuable hitter this week, we're going to talk about Lawrence Butler, looks like, who hit 190 with a 190 on base, 2 runs, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 steals, 7 strikeouts, and an error. With a shout out to Josh Smith as well with his error.
Those 2 errors are what lost the stat. So
yeah,
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and it happened Saturday and Sunday. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The Cy Young goes to Lance Lynn for that start that we talked about, and Ty Madden is the Cy Yuck for the start that did not go well. Mike, I'm going to give you the floor here for a minute just to talk about what you saw this matchup, what you were feeling throughout the week, and anything else that you've got for us.
Yeah, no, thank you. I felt actually really good going into Saturday. I'm pretty sure I had him where I wanted him. I was winning in 3 pitching categories, and I knew that's all I needed to win the matchup because I was good on the hitting categories. Plus I was tied in errors going into Sunday. So I was like, all right, as long as I stay tied in errors and I win these 3 pitching categories, which was saves, walks given up, and
Relief
home run
appearances.
relief appearances, then I'm good. So that's why I didn't care about the ERA, I didn't care about the whip. I was willing to give up the home run. I needed those relief appearances. So that's why I picked 2 pitchers that I knew were coming into. That's 2 guaranteed relief pitchers who were the bulk guys. And then I was like, well, I have 8 other relievers who can get into this game who really didn't pitch much this week. So I have a really good chance of taking relief appearances. And what does he do on fucking Sunday? Every single one of his relievers gets into a game except AJ Puck. And the Diamondbacks, I texted this to Ben, I think. AJ Puck and Joe Mantiply gave him 8 relief appearances this week. 8 of his 27 came from those 2 guys. And yeah, Joe, that's why you gave Joe Mantiply the Cy Yuck, but it didn't matter what he did on the mound. The fact that he just kept coming in, it killed me. Tim Herron also with 4 relief appearances. So that's 12. That's half your relief appearances almost from 3 guys. And so it made me sort of like rethink because I don't want to like reveal too much, but like loading my team up with closer after closer after closer was cool, and it was like guaranteeing me to win those categories. But what Jay did this week was load his bullpen with guys that are gonna come in, not necessarily closers, but with guys that are going to just, even if it's 2/3 of an inning, he loaded his team with that. And I don't know if that was intentional or if it was just because he didn't have any closers left. So he's like, I'm gonna go for like, the high volume guys. But the fact that I only have closers made it so that these guys weren't going to come in unless their team was up. And it kind of bit me in the ass a little bit. And I'm not saying 26 relief appearances is bad, but compared to what I needed, it was not good. And then on Saturday night, I think I texted Jason. I may have texted you this, but Trevor McGill comes in and walks 2 guys on Saturday night. It was like one of the last games going, I think. So that alone flips walks, which means I was going to bench my entire pitching staff if I was winning in walks given up, winning in saves and winning in relief appearances, I was probably going to bench my pitching staff because at that point I really only needed 11 stats. So even if I lost relief appearances, I would have gotten saves and walks given up by a pitcher guaranteed if I benched my whole staff. And then McGill comes in, walks those two guys, that category flips, and I was like, fuck, I gotta actually play the pitchers tomorrow. And that's what happened. But it was such a chess match. It was so back and forth. It was a lot of fun.
I think the Mason Miller drop, and I know Joe will get into it later, but I think I can read the writing on Jay's wall that, yeah, I'm not going to beat Mike's saves. I'm not going to get saves because Mike has a whole bunch of closers and he had Mason Miller. So yeah, let me drop Mason Miller and load up on the Tim Herrons and the Joe Mandaplies and the guys who are going to come in, like you said, they're going to come in throughout the week and not worry about saves. And that's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets that thing by 1, gets the matchup by 2 because of the walks and because of the relief appearances. Ben Nisman, what do you got
the
for us
error.
here, man?
Yeah,
The
that
error.
was-
The error is
Yeah.
enormous by Josh
Yeah.
Smith. I got a lot here. Starting with the fact that we've got 2 Titans here. Just to throw up the stats for Jay Ferraro, it's out of 11 years in the bigs, 5 to the playoffs, 3 out of 11 to the semis, and now 3 out of 11 to the final. Mike Haber, 14 out of 17 years into the playoffs, 14 out of 17. 5 out of 17 of the semis and 4 out of 17 of the finals. Just incredible numbers just right there, just what you're about to get into. Mike, we talked about the fact that he had 4 ads that he was able to use on Sunday to set up. 3 moves on Monday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Saturday, and then 3 on Sunday. Jay also with 3 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday. That was the Mantiply one. 3 on Thursday, 1 on Friday, and then 2 on Saturday. It was just really incredible to watch with you guys, specifically with the pitching. Mike, your team just decided to start bringing it on Wednesday offensively. And it was weird because it was like, okay, they batted like 250 and 213, whatever. And then on Wednesday, they're just like, all right, we'll do what we've been doing all season long. A 351 average, a 359 on base, 13 for 37. He had 3 hits out of Correa. He got 3 hits out of Azuna. Thursday, he hit like crazy. 312 with a 395. Friday, he batted 265 with a 359 on base. Saturday, he batted 344 with a 400 on base. Sunday, a 250 with a 333 on base. Incredibly consistent offensively. And it just came down to, can you find a way to grab those other pitching categories? And I'm amazed that Jay's team has been able to do this all season long on the pitching. And I thought, it's due for one bad week. Jay leads our league with a 3.22 ERA. Second is Joe with a 3.62. But whip, Jay is actually ahead of everybody in whip with a 112 whip, just in front of Josh with a 113 whip, just to give you an idea of what's going on in the final as far as pitching goes. So it was interesting how it came down to really the relief appearances, the fact that they were really just throwing haymakers at each other as far as which relief pitchers are going to get in. I was sure with the way that Mike was hitting the ball that he would find a way to grab a pitching stat here and there. He only lost 3 categories on the offensive side, and Jay was able to just grab one here and there and had the tiebreaker. And it was just really crazy how this all ended up basically on Sunday. And this was really an emotional one for Jay. He had a tough season. He knows that it was winless in 8 weeks at a certain point. He was racing basically until week 21 and finally got in. Basically, I mean, if you look at these schedules, we all know what was happening with the 8 winless weeks. But when he finally walked into Ari uh, on week 20 and beat him 17-3, when I was convinced the stick could have managed better than my brother that week, that was the difference between Jay getting in and not. So, it, it is, he did take care of business when it needed to happen. But before that matchup with Ari, it wasn't looking great, and he needed every freaking one. So I give him a lot of credit for getting through the champion. Mike, I had you going over in this matchup. I really did. And it looked as if, with all the offense that you were bringing, that it was going to happen. I tip my cap to Jay to be able to figure out what was possible for him to win and what not, because the Luis Robert move didn't give him enough runs that could have won him the category. Byron Buxton was a miss with an 0 for 5. So he had a slam dunk on all those relievers. The Bailey Ober move had to work. Like, he had to get everyone. And Mike, you were great as well. And like you talked about with Saturday, the pitching kind of made it difficult for you on Sunday. There was still an avenue for you to win this thing. And it was just really amazing, amazing how it all panned out.
Yeah, the last thing I want to add on, just piggybacking off of what you said, Ben, was I thought this matchup was kind of fascinating because Jay and I had just polar opposite teams, but the same strategy. In that for him, it was, I know I'm going to win these pitching categories. Let me snag one or two hitting categories, and then I can tip the scales in my direction. And for me, it was the polar opposite. I know I'm going to beat Jay offensively. I just knew it going in.
Hmm.
But it was just a matter of, can I snag any pitching categories? And that's what it came down to, just a dogfight between errors and relief appearances, and then a couple of other like things here and there. But I just found that kind of fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, you won one pitching category, he won 3 offensive categories, so it
That's
was
the difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
But
it.
Pretty.
I mean, you got to figure like it takes some guts to like continue to pitch and try to go for those innings and the strikeouts when you're winning by one home run given up. And that's what it comes down to, really, and an error. So it took a lot of gumption for both of you guys to start the starting pitchers that you were starting, and I found that to be very impressive because I know I'm extremely gun shy through the week, and which guy do I have to go to for the 42 innings? And Jay, he pitched his ass off. Like, there's a good amount of innings with a pretty incredible ERA, and he's been doing this week after week.
Yeah. And I do want to add too is that I was not playing for a tie, and that was really important.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That makes
Um,
it tougher.
yeah, because he won the first matchup 12-8. I won the second matchup 12-9. So that one loss of a category, it just goes to show that every category matters throughout the year because
Mhm.
you never
You never
know
know
who
who you're going to face.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Legendary semifinal matchup here, absolutely legendary, and we look forward to quite a few more of these in years to come. Um, this was this was an absolute dogfight, and you guys absolutely deserve to be there. Absolutely, hats off to Jay for his incredible win, and good luck to him in the finals. I mean, this is the first time he's been in the finals since when, Ben? 2008.
2008. This is his first final in 16 years. So he's going for
Wow.
his first championship in 16 years. Yeah.
Been amazing, an amazing ride, and we are getting close to the climax. Let's move on to our second semifinal matchup. We're going to talk about my matchup with Josh Haber. Now let's start off by saying I lost and I'm sad about it, but I'm not too sad about it. We'll get
Yes.
into more about it here in a minute. On Sunday, it was 9-8 going in, and it was in my favor. And Sunday happened. That's all I can say is that Sunday happened. I had 5 offensive guys going in the night game and a couple of starters going, and not a single bit of it worked. Not a single bit. On Sunday, Josh took runs, homers, RBIs, on base percentage, losses, and saves to turn what was going to be a really nice close matchup into a blowout. And I remember sitting in the 500 section of Citi Field right next to our commissioner and going, I'm not going to look at the phone until the end of the game. And about the third inning, I went, well, let's just take a quick peek. And at that moment, it was 14-4. And I'm like, hey, pretty sure I'm going to lose now. Close categories this week. Josh wins by 3 runs, a triple, 2 RBIs, 4 walks by a hitter, 2 ticks on the on-base percentage, an inning pitched, a loss, 4 walks, 7 ticks on the whip, and a relief appearance. I won by 3 home runs by a pitcher, and we tied in home runs by a batter, errors, and saves. For Josh on his bench this week, Benjamin, he's going 8 for 27.
Oh, God. 319.
296.
Wow.
5 runs, 2 doubles, a triple, a homer, 4 RBIs, a steal, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts. He did, in fact, use all 10 moves, but he also used how many before the week started? 5.
5.
Yep.
So he was able to stack Michael Busch, Geraldo Perdomo, Andre Palante, Hunter Strickland, and Pavin Smith all on Sunday before the week started. Beginning the week, he drops Jared Koenig for Pedro Avila for a clean relief appearance. Drops Reed Detmers for Jordan Wicks, who was bad against Oakland. Dropped Matt Chapman for Shane Baz, who was good against Boston. Pedro Avila for Jack Kohanowitz, who was amazing against the White Sox. He drops Jordan Wicks for Joey Cantillo, who was okay against Minnesota. Dropped Jack Kohanowitz for Jordan Walker, 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. He drops Hunter Strickland for Mason Miller on the waiver claim. And what I found interesting was that all 3 of the other managers who did not own Mason Miller put in waiver claims. So we tried, Mike. We tried.
We did.
Mason Miller got an inning, a walk, and a relief appearance, and that one relief appearance is, in fact, the difference in that category.
And an inning, yeah, and innings.
And an inning, yeah. He drops Joey Cantillo for Jeremiah Estrada, clean relief appearance. Drops Merrill Kelly for John Brebbia, who did not pitch. And then he dropped Jeremiah Estrada and Liam Hendricks for Jordan Westberg, who returned from the IL but is on the bench. The MVP this week, of course, there's plenty of names to go with here, but we're going to go with Mookie Betts. He had an unbelievable season when he was healthy, and this week he hit 241 with a 250 on base, 4 runs, the triple, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. His least valuable hitter goes to Geraldo Perdomo. Did not get a hit, struck out once, and took an error. Gross.
Yeah, he started him Monday and Tuesday while the Diamondbacks were in Coors, and he was not good. And then he benched him the rest of the week, and there was a couple of days where Perdomo was doing things on the bench, so he had trouble getting this guy in. Yeah.
The Cy Young this week goes to Andre Palante, though I do want to give credit to Shane Baz's 13 innings and 2.08 ERA. Palante was amazing. 7 innings, nothing earned, 9 strikeouts against what was that, against Oakland? Or no, that was
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
And he benched him Sunday too. He had another 7-inning gem against Cleveland that he didn't get in, but I mean he didn't need it obviously, but yeah, Palante all of a sudden is pitching like a Cy Young candidate.
Incredibly well. Yeah, incredibly well. The Cy Young goes to Reed Detmers, who was not great. 5 1/3, a loss, 3 bombs, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 1181, and a 188 on the whip. Crazy, crazy week. For me this week on my bench, Benjamin, I go 4 for 21.
Great. 188.
190. 190.
Oh,
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. 3 runs, a triple, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. The triple obviously would have tied the category, wouldn't have helped. 3
Three
runs
runs.
also
Perfect. Gotta
would
be
have,
perfect.
yeah, got to be perfect to get them in. Obviously, that would have been difficult. I used all 10 ads this week. Dropped Cade Povich for Sean Armstrong, clean relief appearance. Dropped Jose Alvarado for Michael Grove, who was awful in his relief appearance. Dropped Heliot Ramos for Brock Burke, who was good in both of his relief appearances. Dropped Marcus Stroman, who went to the bullpen for the Yankees, got a 3-inning save the day I dropped him, and allowed a home run. Go figure. Picked up Griffin Canning for that guy. 6 innings, a win, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, nothing earned against Chicago. Dropped Canning, Gavin Stone, and Michael Grove, all for Landon Knack. 5 innings, a win, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, nothing earned against Miami. Dropped Knack for Jake Cousins, clean relief appearance until he left with a pectoral injury. Dropped Brock Burke for TJ McFarland, who was atrocious in his relief appearance. Dropped Jake Cousins for Luis Robert, 1 for 4 with a double and a strikeout. Dropped Justin Verlander and TJ McFarland for Andrew Chafin, who was terrible in his relief appearance. Dropped George Springer for Gavin Williams, who was good in St. Louis on the other side of that Andre Palante start. The MVP this week goes to Trey Turner. It's about fucking time. 355 with a 375 on base, 4 runs, a homer, 4 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and 6 strikeouts. The least valuable hitter goes to Harper or Santander or maybe even Travis d'Arnaud, but I'll give it to d'Arnaud actually. 167 with a 333, 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. The Cy Young goes to, we'll give it to you, Darvish. 12 and a third, a win, 2 homers, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts, a 146 and an 065. Garrett Cole, though, threw 9 innings of 1-run ball against Oakland, and they went to extras, and he won the ball game anyway. But that was really surprising. The Cy Yuck is Josh Hader. It's absolutely Josh Hader. He's the reason that I lost this week. 9.82 ERA, 136 WHIP, 4 relief appearances, 2 saves, but the big loss on Sunday when he exploded for a 108 ERA and a 15 WHIP. Just destructive week
against the Angels.
Yeah. Fellas, Josh Hader is the reason I lost this week, and he's also the big trade piece I got this year. So do I regret trading for Josh Hader? Absolutely not, because I wouldn't be there without him. Benji, what do you got here, my friend?
Oh, I got a lot here.
I bet you
do. Let's start with the accolades, shall we? Jo Schubert, out of 20 years in our prestigious league, 15 to the playoffs out of 20. Semifinals, 14 out of 20 to the semifinals, and 6 out of 20 to the final. Joe used 1 move on Monday, 3 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 1 on Friday, 1 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. Let me just start by saying I was convinced that Joe was winning this matchup, guys. I was convinced of it before the matchup even started, and then the week began. And the week began with, for Joe, an 11 for 24. If you don't know, that's a 458 average and on base. And then he had 8 innings for a 225, 1 whip. Okay, that's an insane Monday. Let's see if it kind of normalizes a little bit. On Tuesday, he goes 14 for 20 with a 350 average and a 366 on base. He throws 14 innings for 257 ERA and a 107 whip. On Wednesday, he decided to show some sort of baseball mortality, so he batted 161 with a 212, but he still threw to 14 innings and a 64 ERA and a 93 whip. I wasn't looking at what Josh was doing for 3 days. I was just thinking, this guy can't lose. There is no way with these kinds of numbers he's going to lose. Even when his team doesn't hit, he pitches like that. And then on Thursday, oh yeah, Thursday happened. So it's a 267 average. That doesn't seem to scare you. What about a 405 on base percentage? 6 runs, 2 bombs, and 8 RBIs. And then Friday happened because Friday was a 229 average. Not that great, but he gets 3 wins out of 23 innings, and 2 of those wins were out of freaking relievers. So, I mean, you tell me, in what world are you looking at this matchup and seeing that Joe, if you were going to tell me before the matchup began, Joe's going to have a 363 ERA. He's going to have 110 whip. He's going to have 28 relief appearances. He's going to have 79 innings for that 363 ERA. Oh, by the way, he's also going to have 27 runs, 26 RBIs, 10 home runs, and he's not going to win the match. Not only is he not going to win the matchup, he's going to lose by 10 because somehow Josh is going to have 30 runs. He's going to tie him in home runs with 10. He's going to have 11 doubles. He's going to have 28 RBIs. He's going to throw to 291 ERA over 80 innings. He's going to have 1 more relief appearance. He's going to have 29 and set the record. Like all these things are going to happen, and they're going to happen to beat someone who's been in the semifinals 14 out of 20 years. It wasn't realistic, guys. It didn't feel realistic. Joe beats anybody else probably this week. I don't know how this happened. I'm dumbfounded by it. I texted Mike on Saturday saying, it looks like you're going to be playing Joe. And I couldn't have been more wrong. And that's, I guess, what's beautiful about the bigs, that in one day, everything can change. It's not, if it's at least a little close, if it's a little close, anything can happen. And it was weird how by Sunday night, with the Phillies and Mets going on, and Joe was playing with all these Phillies, that game didn't even end up really mattering at the end because of everything that happened with the pitching. I give a ton of credit to you, Joe. The Gavin Williams pickup for Sunday and going with that and throwing the 2 starters to try to get your innings. Obviously, Darvish against the White Sox it's logical, but I thought that you were going to take innings. I thought you were going to take strikeouts. And Josh, how much BALLS do you have to throw Shane Baz twice? And he gets 13 innings out of this guy. And he's basically the reason he won. I mean, I know you mentioned he wasn't mentioned as the Cy Young, but he's got to be considered, even though he didn't go scoreless ball. 13 innings for a 208 ERA and a 62 whip. The win, I mean, that seemed like the most necessary thing. And then why the hell were these relievers continuously getting into the game for Josh the way he plugged them in? And it worked out so brilliantly. I mean, obviously, yeah, the Palante start was important, but you get Hunter Strickland there. You get Avila. You got this Mason. You got Mason Miller. You Estrada, Brebbia. You even had one to use just to set up for next week in Westburg. I mean, this is about as strategic of a win as I've ever seen in this league. When you talk about the numbers that Joe put up and what he was doing day to day, mentally, I think I might be out of it. And the way that Josh just kept plugging away and finding, okay, let me get this stat instead. Let me find a way to get this stat. This stat looks done. And then he seems to find a way to win a lot of these offensive stats. Guys, I'm just completely stunned on how it took place.
Benji, on Sunday, he just flat out hit me. 243 with a 333, 8 runs, 2 doubles, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, and 9 strikeouts. For me, a 148 batting average, a 303 on base, only 2 runs, a homer and RBI, 5 stolen bases, thanks a lot. 6 walks and 10 strikeouts. I mean, it wasn't a good week. It wasn't a good day for my team. And thankfully, because Tyler McGill and the Mets basically shut down the Phillies for a game. And it was when I needed them the most. So I'm a happy guy. For Josh on his bench, did I already do that?
Yeah, we went through.
Yeah, I did that already.
This is what I'm going to talk about to the other guys. I want to know what Chase. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Mike, I really want to hear. I really want to hear from you because this is your brother. I'm sure you were talking to him all week.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. I also remind me, because I really want to ask all of you about the rule change and about how you think it impacted the semis. Because I think that, I mean, it's our first year doing this,
Mhm.
where Josh and I weren't able to make ads until Sunday. So I'm just fascinated with Joe from your side of things, because I know my side. From your like opposite experience, how was
Mhm.
it? And then Ben and Jason from like an outside like research view, like how do you think it worked out?
I mean, I'll start as the opponent and say I wasn't really too concerned because I was just happy to make the semis at that point.
Okay.
Um, but I do think it was impactful. I mean, what were the ads again? Here we go. Bush, Perdomo, Palante's the huge ad this week. And all you have to do is hit one to be really, really good for that to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in my matchup too, like getting Correa where I got him,
Mhm.
getting Edwin Uceta who closed the game for me. Like I found these guys, and Josh and I texted each other on Sunday and we're like, "Hey, they're all out of moves and you and I have the entire waiver wire." And it was just a like sort of bizarre feeling. And I didn't, part of me was like, this feels like I'm taking advantage a little bit, but I know that this is how we sort of plotted it out this year.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm curious from an outside perspective, at least Jason, Ben, like how did you see it?
Well, I'm wondering if so like Joe or the guys who were playing that week, did that come into play at all? Like, did you go, oh, I probably shouldn't use all my ads. I probably need to have something for Sunday, or does it not at all? Okay.
No, just win, baby. Like it was just
Yeah,
win and get into the finals. That was
because
what I was hoping
because
for.
because it's a great point. Like, yeah, all these guys use all 10 of their ads, and then come Sunday, you guys have the entire pool to yourself. Like, it's an interesting scenario, but I think it definitely as an outsider, I think it makes the league just gives it that a little extra that that another league has, that makes the bigs the bigs.
I mean,
Benji, what are you
I,
thinking?
yeah,
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry,
I
Mike.
was gonna
Finish your
say,
point now.
I was just gonna say, I'm glad that in one matchup, yeah, like like I lost, and in the other matchup, Josh won. So like it's not like it affected both matchups equally,
Mhm.
what
Right.
we're talking about. So anyway, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
Well, I made the rule, so there was reasons for it happening, and the reason was that there's a difference between having one day to set up and having all seven. So the fact that you had the whole pool, that might have happened anyway, because it's very possible that Henry and Joe and Cody and Jay use up all their ads on Saturday regardless.
Yeah.
But it made it so at least those four guys could compete uninterrupted, that they could have the whole pool to themselves. But I didn't want to take out the advantage of being the one seed and the two seed, besides the fact that you only have to face two to win. But I think that the rule helped very, very much as far as keeping things a little bit more balanced, maintaining some parity. Um, there's also that, okay, it's an advantage, yes, but you could also second guess yourself when you have, okay, I have my 4 or 5 ads that I'm going to use. I got a lot to choose from here. Who are the guys that I want to bring along for this first day? So I really enjoyed it. I'm curious how the two of you felt having 10 ads, because you guys have gone deep into these playoffs with 12 ads, with 13, 14 ads. So this is the first time that we've had 10 this deep into the playoff, when people are getting shut down, teams are shutting down certain players. Um, how do you guys feel as far as navigating the 10 ads? Mike, it seemed like you didn't have too much of a problem. You were able to set up and still have some to spare. But I was just curious because that was also a change this year, besides the fact that we were going to lock up the 5 teams till Sunday.
Yeah. I'll speak to it first, I guess. That for me, I kind of built my team with that in mind. I built my team so that I wasn't going to have to play reliever roulette and use 8 ads on relievers. I built my team so that I had stability in all the position players, so that I didn't have to like keep any positions a revolving door. I knew that starting pitching was going to be my weakness, so I would load up on relievers. So I built this team with that in mind, that there's only 10 ads in the semis and that I wasn't planning on using any of them until it was like Saturday and Sunday, and I really knew, the direction that the matchup was headed. So for me, it was not an issue, but I know Jay was out of moves, I think, by Saturday. Joe, I don't know if you were too.
I made one ad on a Sunday in order
One
to
ad
get
on
Gavin Williams.
Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, to max out.
Okay.
As far as, I mean, I love 10 ads. I think it's as perfect as we could possibly make it, and I didn't really run into any issue of like, oh, I really want to pick up this guy, but I can't because I'm limiting my moves. Like this was balls to the wall, and every move I made was intentional. The way I constructed my team, very similar to what Mike said. Like most of my position players stayed where they were for almost a whole week, damn near the whole season. And it was just a whole bunch of reliever roulette and a couple of closers in order to stock up on saves. Obviously, by the time the semis comes, Hector Neris is now no longer the closer of the Cubs. Evan Phillips is blown up in LA, and I'm left with Hader. So
Yeah.
And then I guess it's also the fact that, you know, we kind of knew this going in, just the way that in 2022 you targeted the Orioles, in 2023 you targeted the Rays, this time it's the Phillies. The risk that you take, and obviously you figure it out once you get to the playoffs, but if a team clinches, then you got to kind of have to figure it out with what are you going to do with the position players, but also if the team goes into a slump together, it's going to be really, really hard to dig out. And there were a couple of days where the Phillies just didn't all click together, and maybe that was the difference. But either way, I'd say that you can safely say, Joe, that maybe the semifinal has been a slight bugaboo lately for you. Losing 4 in a row, 5 out of 6 years, and you're 6-8 in the semifinal matchups, an actual five under 500. That's unusual when you talk about Joe numbers that are just all like staggering how great they are. It's been a tough round for you. So it, going into this, you look at those things. Josh can't beat Joe 2 years in a row. Like that's not going to happen. But it's the bigs,
here
and
we are.
I'm just so shocked, man. I just really didn't see this coming. And as a commissioner, with all due respect to the returning champion and to a guy that has the most championships in the league, this is probably the best case scenario for the bigs. And it just seemed like the fantasy baseball gods needed some new blood on the trophy. And yes, we know that Jay Ferraro has 2 championships, that '07 and '08, but it would have meant another guy going back to back. If Mike Haber does it, it means Joe gets his 5th championship. There's a lot of scenarios where it is interesting and is exciting, but there is something about this final that's extremely special. Jay had tears in his eyes. Josh blown away by the fact that he's been able to do this 2 years in a row. Like at 3 out of 4 years of the playoffs for Josh, after never making the playoffs for 14 years, he makes it in for the first time in 2021, first time in 15 years. And then off he goes 3 out of 4 years. Here he is back to back finals. Like this is incredible. Jay Ferraro, 11 years in this league, guys. 11. Okay. He hadn't been to the playoffs since 2009. He comes back, he misses in 2015 and 2016, 27 when he returns, right after 2012. He comes back in 2021. He makes the playoffs. So he misses 3 years. He comes back. He makes the playoffs. He leaves for 2 years. He comes back again and he makes the finals. I mean, this is an incredible story. And I think that has to be appreciated. The fact that everyone is starting to get good in this league. And Mike Haber sent me such an awesome text message when I missed the playoffs and just saying that I could make it easier on us and putting guys that are weaker in this league. But I do my best to try to make it as legitimate as possible that there are no easy outs, and there is a chance that you could lose to any other guy. Jo Schubert lost to Ari Nisman this year, right? Who doesn't really try that hard. Like, if that can happen, then anything can happen. So I'm really, really happy. I feel like the league is in a really great place. And I think the two of you guys you've done such a good job setting a precedent for this league so that when someone beats you, it's like, it's shocking. It's unbelievable. It's something new that's making the league even greater and putting it to bigger heights. Henry Collins, 2 years in a row in the playoffs. He's only been here 2 years. Cody comes in. He makes the playoffs his first year. Adam Lowenstein was over 500 last year. Costas Paragas makes the finals in his second year, in his first full year in the league. Brian Lebo makes the playoffs in the semifinals in 2020, as does Frank in his second year. Jimmy Dunlap joined in 2019. He wins it all in 2022. I mean, all of this is special. So it looks like we're really getting to the point where there's some parity in this league. And I think the league is in a really great place right now.
So let's spin this thing forward, guys. 20th championship matchup is actually already underway. Who have you got? Mike, I'll start with you.
It's Josh's year. I'm giving it to my brother.
Jason.
Sorry, I agree. I think Josh can do it. He's got the team. He's got the skill. He's got the will. I think he can do it.
Interesting. Ben Nisman, who do you got?
I got Jay Ferraro here. I mean, I know that the pitching and can go either way with how amazing these two guys have pitched all year. I think I got Jay Ferraro to finish this thing off. It would be a crushing blow either way because I think both of these guys deserve to put their name on the trophy this year. But I think I'm the lone star here, the four of us, that has Jay Ferraro finishing.
Yeah, I think you do, because I've got Josh as well winning this thing, mostly because his team looks so familiar from my team from last year. So
yeah, but I mean, we look at these two teams, man. Like, it's two stars versus, right? Like Russman and Jose Ramirez on Jay's side and Mookie Betts really on Josh's. Is there really a second star there that can match it? Just as far as offensively.
Jarren Duran.
Jarren Duran, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
And honestly, like Adley Rutschman has not had a very good season. Like he's got the ability, but he's really he's been least valuable player for Jay a few weeks this year. So I don't know. I'm sticking with Josh.
I'm going to take Josh too. I really, really hope that we're able to put a brand new name on that trophy. Even if it isn't a new last name, God damn it, we're gonna put a new name on that trophy one way or the other.
Back-to-back Habers, that's all I need.
Oh, that's interesting. Back-to-back Habers.
Yeah.
Just not back-to-back championships.
I did talk to Josh. I talked to both of these gentlemen before the show and what this championship would mean to both of them. And Josh did mention that if it was you, Mike, in the final, it would mean something a little bit different. The fact that last year happened, brothers again, like that. There is something different in playing different guys in this league. And though I think it would be big for him to beat anyone, and beating Jay Ferraro is just as big. But yeah, again, it would be so incredible for either one of these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be able to put Jay up for the third time. He would end up tying Ben for 3 championships. And or we're going to put a new name on that trophy. Let's dive into the real quick on the consolation king is dead. The king has been slain, and he missed the minimum in order to get Ben into the finals of that consolation bracket. Congratulations, Benji. You're playing one more week.
This is my excited face.
Jason?
And this is my upset face. I've never once missed a minimum in however many years we've had a minimum. I've never missed it. And here we are in the consolation bracket. And the one day where I thought for sure I checked my lineup and I didn't. And Kirby and Walker are just kind of hanging out by the pool, just, drinking Mai Tais and not pitching instead.
Thank you for helping my Yahoo ranking.
You got it, buddy.
On the other side, Cody took down Henry, so it is going to be Ben and Cody for 7th place finishing.
No, Cody wins 5th, and Adam wins, so it's
oh, that's right, that's
Adam.
that one.
Yeah,
that's that
That's
one.
okay.
Gotcha. Cody wins 5th place over Henry. Congratulations, guys. Really solid week all the way around. I think that'll put a bow on this show, unless there's something else you've got. All right, that sounds great. Mike Haber, thanks so much for being here with me.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited we got the four, what'd you call it yesterday? The 4 horsemen of the bigs?
4 horsemen of the bigs.
Yeah, the 4 horsemen back together for the semis show. And, just so happy to be here.
Jason Ashby, thank you so much every single week for doing this research. We appreciate you, and thanks for being here, dude.
Absolutely. And, it's really a lot easier when it's only 2 matchups.
Oh my God, is it ever?
Yeah.
Nisman, thanks for creating this league, my friend. Thank you for making what we enjoy so much, and thanks for being here, dude.
You're very welcome, and it's a blessing to see what the league has become after 20 years. Mike Haber, you were an incredible champion. Just to come back the following year and take the #1 seed automatically in the semifinal to say, yeah, that's Mike Haber. He's in the semifinals, and just making it that much more fascinating and a fun ride for all of us. So thank you for doing what you do. Jason, thank you so much for doing the research and making this podcast any deeper and deeper every single year. Can't wait until you're one of these guys that's going to be running the table in the playoffs. We have 2019 to hang on to in that semifinal, the 4 of us in that semifinal in 2019, but more to come, I'm sure, as there are going to be more managers rising. And Joe, 11 in a row, 8 in a row to the semis. You got a lot of streaks also to live on till in 2025. So I hope you're proud of. I hope everyone is proud of what they've accomplished in 2024. It's been a really, really special year to have this as the 20th year of the Bigs.
It has been an unbelievable ride. We are 1 week away from crowning the newest Bigs champion, and I can't be happier to see Josh Haber against Jay Ferraro this week. Well, I could be happier. I would be in it, but I digress. Thank you all for watching and listening. And until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time. Penis.